Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Dark Side of the Word. We weed out the good, the bad, the creepy, so you don't have to. Join us as we discuss our latest book club reads and content recommendations. All topics are dissected and debated from a creative's perspective. New episodes are posted every second and last Thursday of the month. Watch Dark Side of the Word on YouTube or listen to the audio-only version on iHeart, Apple, and Spotify. And we are back, listeners, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
We are back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy January.
Like a month late. Happy New Year, but still better late than never.
Yes, sorry, friends. We know that we promised that there would be an episode January 9th, and we would have liked to have stuck with that, but life gets in the way.
I got COVID. That's what happened. I got COVID.
I was going to be nice and not just blurt that out.
I'm full disclosure. I got COVID. My husband went on a business trip. I think he gave it to me. Then he got it himself. And for 2 weeks, I was not a person. And I had no voice. And a hacking cough. And Kate kindly was like, don't worry about it. Don't power through. Just rest yourself and feel better. And here I am.
Well, we can make this as anything we want. Essentially, yes. This is very important. So if you are a creative and you've been watching us for a while, this is a great example of just getting to the things when you can get to them, making your art when you can make it, not forcing. If people really like us, they'll still be waiting.
Yep. You'll understand that we get COVID sometimes, and it's okay.
Exactly. But if you noticed, we might have had just a fancy new intro for you all with, saying who we are and what we're doing. And if you listen to it and didn't just skip ahead in the chapters, you might have noticed some interesting information in there about a second and last Thursday of the month. Yes, that's right, ladies and gents. We are only going to be posting episodes twice a month now because CJ and I are just too busy. We are too goddamn busy now because we have so many cool things in the works.
Totally.
So many cool things we're working on. And we didn't want to give this up, but we weren't able to sustain a weekly podcast right now.
No. And we really want to focus on what we love most about the podcast, which is books. Talking about books.
So we're mostly going to be talking about books on here now. We're going to be reading, I would say generally 2 books a month. Mm-hmm. However, because we still want to give you guys something cool and chic and exciting, and to still be exciting, and to give you all some creative help and inspiration as you're going on this journey. We'll still give little updates here and there. Don't worry, they'll be in the book club episodes. You won't be missing it. But we are going to be having author interviews scattered throughout the year. Our goal is to have a total of 4 this year.
Yes.
And we already have practically 3 in the books. Almost.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do have 3 in the books, actually. And it's not even the end of January yet. I am super proud of us. Super proud.
We are kicking ass, so don't worry. We are still leveling up at this podcast, and we are not staying stagnant, even though it's only twice. So I'm very excited to do this with you, CJ, and to see what the future holds. And just... Again, we are just, shifting with the times, morphing with the times, change. I don't know.
We're just leveling up. We're upgrading. And also, I want to mention that when we do our 2 books each month, we're going to try and do where one is a newer title, a bestseller, a current title. And then the other one is kind of a horror classic or a dark fiction classic that you may have seen on lists and that pretty much everybody who loves horror should be reading and maybe hasn't read, because that's definitely me. I'm slowly working my way through things. So I'm excited to kind of dive into fan fiction favorites, I guess.
I know. I was going to pull up one of the things that we were referencing, the 100 books, horror books to read before you die, but I don't have it next to me.
I have it out there in the hallway.
Okay. I
won't get it.
You might even find books from there.
Yes.
Because,
101 horror books to read before you're murdered by Sadie Hartman, a.k.a. Mother Horror on Instagram, who is a goddess of horror.
Exactly.
A mother of horror, I guess, but also a goddess of horror.
We take a lot of notes from her.
Yes.
But let's catch up for a second, because we haven't seen you all since November when we had our last episode come out. It is now season 3 over here, and I'm so excited. Season 3 makes me feel like we are legit.
Could we be termed a long-running podcast at this
Yes.
time? Yes, we are a long-running podcast.
I would say yes. I mean, most podcasts end after 8 episodes, and we have
way
well surpassed that. Yeah.
I don't know how many we have, but we do not have 8. We have more than 8, so.
Well, we had like 48 last year alone.
No, really? I mean, I'm bad at math, so I'll just take your word for it and be very impressed with us.
Roughly,
Yay!
or like 47, 46, up there.
I mean, 12
Just one
months.
a week almost, yeah.
Yeah,
No, 11
that's-
months.
That's
11 months.
11 months. That's pretty impressive. That's It doesn't feel like that when you're doing it.
Yeah. But
Oh,
it
good
is.
for us.
I
Good for
know.
us.
Also, just to say season 3, it just feels so
Season
yeah.
3. Like we're a TV show. It's like we're a podcast. Oh my God.
Oh. All right, CJ, what have you been up to in the last 2 months? What have you been working on? What's your creative journey like?
Okay, I am not gonna lie. I have not been doing too much because December, COVID. But that was recently. During December, I just baked my ass off, and it was absolutely glorious. I didn't do any blogging. I didn't do any writing. I just took a break. And then starting in January, I started to get back into things. I started a Substack for my blog, Well Read Tart.
Yay!
It is the same name on Substack, and I will be talking about books and food and writing, but also talking about things that are a little bit more personal. To kind of give you the behind-the-scenes look at a creative's life. So I talk about walking a lot. I talk about hygge, about slow living, about cats, about birds, anything that my 41-year-old self is into right now.
She doesn't talk about cats. She talks about her cat, which is
That is
a
true.
special creature that is it really a cat?
He is the most adorable kitty in the entire world, a well-read cat. So he will be on there. And then there's lots of nature.
I have
Just
a
fun stuff.
personal question.
Yes.
Is your turtle going to make it on there?
He should make it on there. I feel like he gets the shaft a lot because I don't really ever mention him. But yes, I have a turtle. I will make a concerted effort to put Bugs the turtle on there as well.
That is like the one thing when CJ told me she had a turtle forever. I was like, you have a turtle? Okay, all right, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's very random. The cat tends to dominate my focus most of the time because of his little white paws. But the turtle is pretty cool.
Wait, his white paw? No, eyes.
And his
It's the
eyes.
eyes.
I just love the little white paws.
I died with the eyes when I met him.
He gets a lot of people with the Puss in Boots eyes, definitely. So I started a Substack. I'm going to start posting on there regularly, like new articles, I guess you would call it, because you can post notes, which is kind of like a little social media type, like, hey, here's a picture of something, blah, blah, blah. But I'll start posting articles in February. And then I'm going to start posting on my blog again in February, 2 times a week, book review and recipe. And I have also just started a writing workshop to work on the Ghost Children book because I know I have been a complete lazy ass and I have not done any work on it since our retreat in October. And
you don't have to admit that to everyone.
oh, it's so true. It's just so true. But I was reading my notes I was reading the revisions I did do on the retreat. And they're really pretty good. I feel really solid about them. I added in a lot of things that were missing that were like lingering questions. I think I answered them, so I'm really happy with that. And I'm hoping that this workshop will light a fire under my ass because I'll have deadlines and feedback, which is good too. But really, I need the deadlines. So that is what I have been doing for the past couple months and will be doing for the next few months. What about you? Miss has a new haircut. Everybody look at her new haircut. It's just so lovely and glamorous.
And if anyone's waited on the edge of their seats of the drama that has been going on for months, yes, I am included as one of those readers in her class. I am not in the workshop, but she informed me that she will be sending me the same chapters she sends them at the same time to me as well. So I will no longer have to be really pissed off and angry that these other people are getting to read the book, and I am not.
You will absolutely be getting to read. I didn't send you the first chapter because you have seen the first chapter and nothing has changed already.
Okay.
I will send you that when I send you chapter 2.
Perfect.
So you can have a reminder of what the hell is going on.
Yeah, I'm going to have to skim it just to like get the tone of voice again, refresh, have all that. But I am so excited. I think that is a great start to the year, except for the COVID part. I would say it's weird.
Yeah, that was a downer.
I feel that the year in a way started out really, really good, and it's been kicking our butts and being a bad year, but kicking our butts and like get over this hurdle because on the other side is green pastures galore.
Yes, I will take it. COVID gave me a little extra downtime, a little more relaxing, a lot more sleep. Yesterday, I thought I had pink eye and I was freaking out because I'm like, I could not freaking get pink eye on top of this. But thankfully, I look normal today, so I'm happy about that. So I was not ready for one more weird illness to hit me in January. And I'm like, man, I got to go out and see people again soon. Okay, enough about me. What about you?
Oh man, it has been a crazy 2 months. I feel that there's been a combination of really wanting to slow down and take everything off my plate while at the same time being motivated to put everything on my plate. First off, I have been in a very big hermit mode. I have had some life stuff, and it has made me really just want to hermit and not be around anyone anymore.
Understandable.
Except CJ, you're allowed in the inner circle.
Thank you.
And clearly our listeners, because I'm here. But some of the things that I have been focusing on and that on my creative journey, again, I also have not really worked on writing.
Since October?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have still been doing other things. I've really been working on the clothing line, which I have kind of sprinkled in on here I've talked about a little bit. I am very excited that that has been going successfully and we are getting progress. And so now I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to start pushing that forward, making some of my own designs, editing clothing, things like that. I've been practicing craft, I've been practicing the craft of making those things so that now I can take it and put it to use. So that has been a very great creative source for me. I have also been baking a lot as well with CJ because one of my dreams, if I ever can, is to be able to open a micro bakery or just a little bakery in general. And I have been floating that. That is one thing that has been taken off my plate for the moment, though. I would love to tell you why that was finally decided to be taken off my plate, but I cannot remember at this very moment.
Too many things to remember. It just flew away.
Exactly. I also have decided to make my own comic. I am very excited. I have a great idea that's been like festering in my head for a little bit, and my partner has decided to join with me on this journey as well. He has been doing comics and designing that kind of stuff for a while. Now, we are not the greatest artists. I'm going to warn everyone. So we are taking a drawing class right now. This is not something that is going to come out tomorrow. This is going to be kind of like a slow progress, but my goal is to essentially create volumes or chapters of the comic. It's going to be a really long running comic, but there's going to be like a chapter or volume, and it's going to be like released weekly for a set amount of time until it's over, and then it'll go on a little hiatus, and then it'll happen again. So it's not going to be like a weekly forever.
Gotcha.
Comic. So I'm really excited about that. In doing that and realizing how fucking long that's going to take us, I don't know why. I have gotten this massive fire under my ass again. Fire, you better stay there.
Good.
To just finish up the final edits on Praces and just put it out in the world.
You should do it. I fully support
listeners. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster for me too. I have to have a certain amount of courage to be able to do. But I feel like I'm really getting to a spot where I'm finding myself. I'm finding a voice. I'm finding an ability to be on social media a lot better. I'm finding an access to marketing myself in a way that I haven't before. I mean, I got a new hairdo. Like, we're really going for the transformation over here. And definitely. If you've been on my Instagram lately, I'm just staring at the magic thing I did over here as a dopamine hack. I wrote out 53 Post-it notes labeled 1 through 53.
Okay.
And every time I finish a chapter, it's on my window. Every time I finish a chapter, I'm taking a Post-it note off.
Oh, I like that.
So I can visually see a really good progress and have like a dopamine hit of finishing it.
That's a really good idea. Now, do your Post-it notes stick to the wall? Because mine never do.
Well, it's on a window. And I mean, it's sticking right now. I cleaned the window first.
Okay. So
we'll see. Because I can't have them falling off.
Don't have them fall off. You just wake up and like the whole thing is like falling down. You're like, I finished! Yay!
Magic, it's done. The fairies wrote it for me overnight.
Right.
And then, okay, sorry, the list isn't over. Okay. I have also been going into the foray of nonfiction writing, and I'm very excited about that. I have 2 nonfiction books that have been kind of circling in my head, and one of them I'm going to use as more of like a also Substack release of more of like long written form blogs. So I'm going to kind of scroll away at quite a few of them, make like 10 or so articles, and then start releasing them. So I have like time to make new ones.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, besides the fact that as soon as the next week and a half are over for us, because it's just a crazy last 3 weeks, and we'll be over with it soon. I'm hoping to hermit in, and we're going to put in a greenhouse and maybe get chickens, but don't tell my city. And really work on our house and get back to gardening and just finally, like, the last year was hell on earth and we weren't able to really appreciate being home. And I'm just kind of saying no to everyone who's asking me to come visit. Not you, CJ. And
I didn't even ask yet, but now I know not to. Okay.
Well, we already have the set in stone one. But we're just kind of trying to spend more time at home and really getting into just like putting roots in and settling in and nesting and just doing all the things in our house and just really like trying to slow down. On the flip side, I'm just dying to have another writing retreat with you both, because I need one badly.
I know. We will have one. We will have one. It will be a while from now, but we will have one.
It's so far away. We need to do this like monthly.
I know.
All right, now sad faces. I think I covered it all. If I missed anything, I'll just talk about it in the next podcast.
Okay. You got a lot in there, so I think you probably hit all the high points.
Like I said, I don't know what it means to not be doing something. I was talking to my hair person, and she's like, "Oh, I just feel like you do a lot. That's so exciting. You did it." And I'm like, "No, I do too much."
It sounds better than it feels sometimes. Thank you. I am tired.
I am tired. I don't want to do this. I just want to curl up on the couch and watch Call the Midwife. Thanks, CJ.
Yep. That is my comfort. And I don't want to get into the state of the world and politics, but I'll just say that right now, when I need to just let go and just lose myself in something, Call the Midwife. I just pop that on and just I'm transported.
Yeah, but like you didn't tell me how sad it is.
It is sad.
It's horribly sad.
It is,
and I'm like, no, why didn't she warn me? You said this was your comfort show. So I'm like, oh, this will be so much fun.
It's cozy.
No.
It's cozy.
Ugh. How is it cozy? It is so fucking sad. Every episode is some story that makes you want to like cry your eyes out.
So, fun story right before we get into our book stuff is that I started trying to watch Call the Midwife like 10 years ago. And I was a basket case at every single fucking episode. I made it maybe 4 or 5 episodes in. I'm like, I can't do it. It's like when I would watch Grey's Anatomy. And I was a basket case and I stopped watching it because I was just so traumatized. I have gone to lots of nice therapy and worked very hard with my therapist over the years. And now the things that triggered me in the show do not trigger me at all. Like,
so
it's sad.
She doesn't have a soul anymore.
I don't have a soul, and I feel great about it. I am so happy not having a soul. So that's probably why I didn't tell you, because it doesn't register to me that is cripplingly sad topics going on. I see like, oh, that's unfortunate, but I'm not a basket case, and it feels good to not be a basket case.
So this is your Richter scale, listeners. If you watch Call the Midwife and you cry, then clearly you need to go to therapy.
Yeah, exactly. You have unresolved issues. I had many unresolved issues. And now they are resolved and I can watch my show.
I will say it has very much not in the content, but like in the musicality and dialogue and just flow. It has a very Downton Abbey like, kind of like vibe to it. It's very British.
Yeah, very British. Very British. It's just happy. If you read the series, I love the 1960s. It's not from the 1960s. It's set in the 1960s. The Irish Country Doctor by Patrick Taylor. Which is kind of like All Creatures Great and Small, if you've ever seen that. It's like a town country doctor who's older takes on an apprentice, and like there's quirky townsfolk and stuff. It's very much the same kind of feels of like community and people helping each other, and just like that like the morals of the 60s and how everything was more closely knit. It's like the same as in the show. So if you like the Irish Country Doctor series, if you like All Creatures Great and Small, Call the Midwife is very much that way, but much sadder than All Creatures Great and Small. Much sadder. Kidding. Yeah.
Well, now that we've made everyone cry and given a horrible recommendation to watch. We're generally a book club podcast, meaning that we will be discussing the book in the episode title. There will be detailed spoilers, so if you haven't read the book yet, you might want to click away and check out our other episodes. We love exploring stories with haunted houses, dark academics gone rogue, serial killer thrillers, reimagined monsters and myths, and so much more. This also means that we're going to be discussing mature and sometimes triggering content, whatever the themes are featured in the book. Let us get now into the reason that we are all here. And if you saw the title in the book, because I did not make the announcement like I was supposed to make the announcement, I'm sorry.
I realized that, and I was going to tell you. And then I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I got COVID, and then everything didn't happen.
Everything just got messed up, okay?
Yeah.
We read Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes, which, if no one remembers that, she wrote Dead Silence, which was on my radar for like a hot minute.
I did not know that.
Anyway, so we read this one, and I will start. I did not write a synopsis.
Because January has been hard.
January's been hard, and I just don't know if I have it in me this year.
What? What?
I don't know.
All right.
My creativity is stretched thin.
I understand.
That takes a lot of spoons.
It does take a lot of spoons. Okay, you know what? You do you. No judgment. You just read what's here and written for us.
It's like
right all the other peasants are reading.
Exactly.
All
right. Psychologist Dr. Ophelia Bray has dedicated her life to the study and prevention of Eckhart-Reiser syndrome, ERS, the most famous case of which resulted in the brutal murders of 29 people. It's personal to her, and when she's assigned to a small exploration crew who recently suffered the tragic death of a colleague, she wants to help. But as they begin to establish residency on an abandoned planet, it becomes clear that the crew is hiding something. And Ophelia's crewmates are far more interested in investigating the eerie, ancient planet and unraveling the mystery behind the previous colonizers' hasty departure than opening up to her. That is, until their pilot is discovered gruesomely murdered. Is this Ophelia's worst nightmare starting? A wave of violence and mental deterioration from ERS? Or is it something even more sinister? Terrified that history will repeat itself, Ophelia and the crew must work together to figure out what's happening. But trust is hard to come by, and the crew members aren't the only ones keeping secrets.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that wasn't that great.
This is synopsis.
Yeah,
it was okay. It got the message across. I feel like the book I read was the book I was prepared for, which doesn't always happen.
Oh, okay. I will say I don't even know why I picked this book. I know I picked this book. Listeners, it is sci-fi. It's space. This is not a
space
CJ book.
Horror. Yes,
so,
this is definitely a Kait pick.
As we give our ratings, let's see how surprised people are.
Okay.
You go first.
All right, my rating for Ghost Station is 3.5 stars.
But, okay, caveat, it is a rounded up 3.5 since Goodreads doesn't have half stars.
I am a firm 3.5, neither up nor down. We will see if our conversation rounds it up or not. We have to do it at the end too. Maybe I'll have an answer for you.
I'm going to make a horrible admission here and just say that
Did you not read the book? It's okay.
No, I did. We have a rule here. I would never do that to you. Okay. I totally forgot the rating of this book because it's been so long. And the number that came to my mind is not actually the number that I put down on Goodreads because I just checked. So now I'm wondering, should I give the number I feel now or should I give the number that I did give it?
I don't know. That's a bit of a conundrum. I think that, give the number that you feel now. And when we re-rate at the end, you'll tell us what you originally rated it and what you're rating it now. So you'll have 3 ratings today. Look at you.
Okay.
So rating now is
1 star.
1 star. Ooh. Oh, wow. This did not settle well with you. Okay.
I thought it was hilarious because, as usual, I got to see CJ's rating on Goodreads before we recorded this, and I thought it was very funny that the sci-fi book was not liked by the sci-fi reader, but by the non-sci-fi reader.
Dude, no one is more surprised than I am how much I enjoyed this book. Like, I My husband and I were going somewhere. I forget where we were going, but we had like an hour-long car trip. And I was so excited to talk with him about the book. Like, I waited till we got in the car and we were on the highway. I'm like, so I want to tell you about this awesome stuff, because he loves everything about space. He reads a little bit more sci-fi than I do, but he loves space. I'm like, this is a book about space and it's horror and it's really cool. And I'm telling him about all these things I found amazing and interesting. And he's like, yeah, that's what happens in sci-fi. That's what happens in books about space. And I'm like, mind blown.
What'd you think sci-fi was?
I know what sci-fi... Okay, so I did not expect to like this book, but I ended up absolutely loving so many things about it. I love the explanation of the space things. Like, the thing that really struck me in the beginning was when Ophelia wakes up from stasis, from being in the cold sleep thing. So I've watched TV shows, movies about sci-fi stuff, and they're all in that sleep stasis thing. And you just see them like, I'm awake now. I've been asleep for how many years, and I'm awake. I'm a little cold, but let's get going. I loved how the author described how Ophelia was feeling. It's like when you read about it, you get to be part of that. When you're watching it on screen, you don't know how the character's feeling unless they go, I'm kind of cold, you know? But just learning how it felt to have her limbs reawaken and the blood to flow through and not being able to move and feeling trapped, it just brought the whole thing to life for me. And I absolutely loved it. I'm like, this is fascinating. Oh my God. Space travel. This is amazing. And, the disorientation that she has too. It was just really cool. I could just experience it so much more than I could with a movie. And I love that. I loved how the author explained things about space travel really well and future life without being just narrative and descriptive. I like that she made events that, wiped out things on Earth. Like, she mentioned a crash of 79, but like, which 79? It's not 1979. It just must have happened in like 3000. I have no idea what year we're even in this book, actually. And it wasn't too technical. Like, when we read, what was it? Last to Leave the Room, about the clone type thing. Like, some of that became a little too sciencey, a little too technical. Everything in this was easy for me to swallow for the English major in me, to be like, oh, okay, I can follow this. And like, she made up these civilizations that were other than Earth, that were there before Earth, and like, Earth was the one that like survived. Humans were the race that did well. We fucking suck, man. Like, how do we be the ones to survive? There's just so much packed into this, and it opened up a whole new world of literature for me. Like, I feel like for the past year, I have been reading. No, I'm not gonna write a sci-fi book. Don't worry.
No, I just mean like, oh God, she's gonna start reading sci-fi.
Maybe a little bit. I feel like I'm reading so many of the same books lately, and I realize it's because I am. I'm reading the same genres and the same subgenres. This was complete space horror. I'm going to quote the blurb on the front: scratches the itch for space horror that I didn't know I had.
I wonder if you'd like Contagion then.
Maybe.
It's
maybe. Maybe I would.
I'll just send you a picture of the front. I have it, I think. Maybe. No, I don't remember. It's kind of like this, but I thought scarier. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a little bit scarier, but for my first foray into sci-fi space horror, I'm pleasantly surprised. All right, maybe we're gonna have to throw some more space horror books on the list here.
Who knew? Who knew? People, open up and expand your horizons. Listen to your friend when you've ignored her the past 12 months, saying we should read a space book, and you're like, no, say yes. Say yes.
Not every book's gonna be 9,000, okay?
It's true. You lost a lot of street cred with that one for me. Okay, so we've heard me wax poetic on why I loved this book. Let's hear why your new rating is 1 star.
Well, I will say, though, just something that you mentioned earlier with the waking up from the cold sleep and all of that, the stasis. Knew essentially that people... Well, I think I'm expecting more of she wakes up alone and she's not sure what happens kind of vibe and all of this. For some reason, that's what stuck in my head. So when she woke up from that and they were dead. Yeah. In their sleep, dead. Quote, yeah, air quotes. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Which I was also not entirely excited about because I have read a book before and I don't remember the title, but I read one where like the kids woke up in this spaceship and like they were there and They had to figure out what happened, how they got there, why no one was alive, why everyone was dead. And that's not my kind of cup of tea. So
It's
I was
a very
also like,
dark Home Alone type vibe.
But I was happy to see they were alive. I think that was actually quite a good, interesting start to it all. Though I would say that I would have left out chapter 1. To be honest, I would have started right with Cold Sleep and then peppered in all of that throughout it, because it was such a. Did she put prologue on it? Maybe I would have done like something that would have differentiated the two. Yeah, chapter 1. I would have. Yeah. Oh, it's 21.99. I thought there was a time frame.
Oh, there's where the time is. Okay, I missed that. I feel like that could have been reiterated throughout the novel a few times, so I had an idea. Because I realize that I tend to miss dates when they're at the top of chapters. I just gloss right over them. Like in my writing group, I'm like, I have no idea what era this is in. And they're like, it says 1979 on the top of the page. I'm like, well, not all of us read that page.
Yeah, because in chapters 2 just says 3 months later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it did like bring up some important things about like her family and the issues. But I agree. We probably could have folded that stuff into the rest of the novel.
Enough. I mean, she doesn't even talk to her uncle. In my opinion, she receives messages from her family anyway when she wakes up. Why couldn't it have just been like a voicemail left by him in her thing, like the reporter was? Yeah. Or the Julius stuff didn't even make sense to me. Having that conversation.
The friend.
He doesn't come up again really at all. It's just her check-in of, I'm a horrible person because I didn't even open up to him, blah, blah, blah. Like, he doesn't even know the truth of the story, and he just became a forgotten character.
Yeah, it did kind of fizzle out after a while.
The only pre-character that had really any big part of it all was her sister, because her sister ends up saving her in the end. Yeah. But no, I did not like the book. I really did not like the book. Well, I do read a lot of space books.
Yep.
And I found that I have read similar, like, Contagion style. We go to a planet and there's this bad thing that's eating us and we don't know what's happening, blah, blah, blah stories. And with this one being very much sold to me as a horror book, there's a space horror, it's going to scratch an itch, all this stuff. Yeah. Not once did I find this to be scary or suspenseful or unknown whatsoever. I have read way better versions of it. I felt that, especially in the first half of the book, we kept getting told, not shown, not our own, like, ooh, what's going on? We were told, like, oh, this is weird. Do you see this over here? This is weird. And it's like, I could have done that myself. Like, it really felt that Ophelia's experience on the planet was just a constant point of like, look at this is weird. Do you see how weird this is? I want you to notice this shiny gun over here. This is weird. This is gonna come up later. And I just like, okay, I get it. You don't need to force feed this down my throat. You're trying to tell me to be scared, but I'm not. Yeah. And none of it really made too much sense to me in the fact of, okay, so we have an alien race that used to live here. Then somehow, did they make these devices? Did they not? Why are these people just randomly dead on the ground? Because it's not actually super answered when they go into the building. Not that I need answers, but I would like some. Yeah. And then why would they go to the planet anyway when they know that there's, I don't know. I was not a fan, and I found the characters to be kind of boring. Ophelia's past just wasn't that exciting, and until about 2/3 of the way through, it was also a little confusing into the relationship of it all. Like, we get it's her dad, so you tell us it's her dad at a pretty early point in the book to give more description of it. Like, I was leaning almost to the point that Ophelia actually was the killer and her dad took the fall for it.
I was thinking that too at one point.
That's where they were pointing. It was not made clear, and so all of a sudden, especially when she had the dream. When she had the dream that she was the one hunting, I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. I had the same thought too.
But that would have been better. Because then we really had to deal it. Because here she is. Like, unreliable narrators. Have we not learned from unreliable narrators in the sense that she's sitting here telling us over and over that she's not a trustworthy person? Again, force feeding it down his throat. I'm not a trustworthy person. I could become crazy like my dad. I could become crazy. I'm crazy. And everyone else is like, no, you're a sane fucking human being. It's fine. Like, the amount of times the captain had to shove that down her fucking throat. And it would have been way more believable and actually have a scare factor if you find out later that she was the one that did all the killing to begin with, and she really wasn't trustworthy.
I would have enjoyed that, actually. I would have enjoyed that.
And then to have a happy ending, like, what the fuck?
I knew from early on that she was probably related to the guy who, or had something to do with all those killings. Like, I feel like that's pretty obvious early on. So it didn't feel like any kind of reveal. We found out that was her dad. It was either, I think it was her or her dad did it. So that wasn't really a huge thing. So that was a little disappointing. And in terms of the aliens on that planet, I do feel like everything got a little muddled toward the end when everybody's losing their minds and trying to give back the samples that they took. And I couldn't always understand what was happening and why and what the problem was on the planet. So I feel like there could have been a little bit more clarification there. I liked that. So I took it as those structures, like all those buildings, those were the aliens or the life forces on that planet, and they were still there somehow. Is that right?
But, so the structures were some form of intelligence.
Yeah.
And we don't know if it's biological entirely,
Okay.
mechanical, electrical. We don't know that. But there was also another race.
The sloth people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we don't know who was first.
Okay,
we
that's
don't
right.
know, did the sloth people make this and it wasn't a biological
and it took
thing?
over. I feel like this was something that I've seen in a Doctor Who episode where the big scary thing is actually what's right in front of you. Maybe I'm thinking of Silence in the Library. Something, no, that's with the people or the books. I don't know, but I feel like Doctor Who did something very similar in its, 50 years of plot lines. So that part didn't really wow me. I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's what that is. I was hoping it was going to be a little creepier, too, like with the horror part. So that was a little disappointing.
Just even the exploring of the station in general when they got there. There are so many references and places that you can look for stories about people investigating abandoned spaceships, abandoned planets. Like, oh, we don't know. We got a distress call. We don't know what happened here. There's so much that this person could have referenced to create a very spooky, atmospheric, scary thing. And there was literally nothing here.
I definitely felt suspense because I kept being excited to go back to it. Like when they were exploring the planet and everything, like this was all new for me. So I was like, yeah, let's go figure out what's going on. I think the point where I started to lose interest is when they realized there was still something out there and they were finding the bodies and trying to figure out what was happening. That's when I kind of lost a little bit of steam. And I was just like, okay, it's no longer brand new territory for me. So I can see why the whole thing probably was kind of boring for you because you had read about people exploring planets and spaceships all the time.
Because there wasn't like that unique little spark that it's not like I'm asking you to reinvent the wheel, but you have to put enough originality into making your story a little bit different than the rest of them to make it interesting. I mean, Firefly is an example of them taking and mixing and making it unique and then throwing in these characters with these quirky personalities.
That's
and
true.
This mashup of people. And okay, now we're riding around a spaceship and it's new. And it's interesting. Like, yeah, when they found the body in the ice, I was just like, oh, is this planet actually alive? Is it bloody underneath? Are we going to find out? And it's like, oh, it's a body. Okay.
Yeah.
Go.
I also didn't love the romantic subtext between Ophelia and Ethan, the commander. I felt like we didn't need it. Like, can't just a woman in space be fighting for her life without also fighting romantic feelings for someone? Why can't she just be on her mission? Why do there have to be longing glances?
Because he's the first one that told her she wasn't crazy.
We don't need that. I just want to see a woman trying to do her fucking job and try and fight off alien life forms that are trying to kill them all. We don't need to have romance in there. We don't. We just don't. I would have been totally into this book without the random glances to Ethan, which really weren't all that much to begin with, but it was enough to annoy me. Where I'm like, we don't need this aspect. Let's get back to the action. Let's get back to the people dying and slicing their own arms open.
I don't know. The characters themselves didn't even interest me. They just felt a little too cookie cutter to this is, captain, cares about his crew way too much. And then the good girl that's going to die. And the sordid past. And blah, blah, blah. Though I will say that I found the virus, we'll call it a virus. Okay, because I don't know.
The building things?
Yeah, whatever those things are. I'm going to call it a virus. I did find it kind of fun that the virus did take over the brain. And like, Yeah, I mean, it's like a zombie, and it's just like everything else we've already read. But I appreciated, this is where it was a unique thing, is I appreciated how it was like they were still with it until they fell asleep, and then the virus was able to take over control. So that was definitely at least a little bit unique to like that little moment where she was like shooting herself up with the uppers.
Yeah, the adrenaline or something like that.
Whatever. That was interesting. I was a little interested there for like a hot second.
Okay. Yeah.
So funny little story though. When I first started reading this book, I went down a rabbit hole because I was trying to figure out if there was an allegory in this book because she had names like Ophelia and Julius and all this stuff, and I was like, is this a Shakespeare retelling in space or something?
Is it?
No, I didn't find anything.
Maybe she just liked the name Ophelia.
And Julius. Like, we were just like throwing this right away, and I was like, oh, is there like some sort of Shakespeare? No, I didn't find anything.
Well, maybe someone else has a thought about it.
I will say I had one thing I liked though.
Okay.
That I did think her descriptions in the book were very well done. Like the writing was good.
Yeah, it was very clear. I could picture everything in my mind. It wasn't it wasn't flowery at all, actually, which again is very different from what I'm used to reading. It was just there, but it was still good. You know, it kept my interest.
I think that's the only thing that did keep my interest was the ability that I was able to read the book well, because there's just been so many books that I cannot stand the narration and writing style.
Yeah.
Especially the current trend of it all.
Yeah.
Which I have a whole rant about trending styles of writing, and I kind of want to yell at my writing teachers at this moment because I made the challenge to read Lord of the Rings this year, to finally read the entire 3 books of Lord of the Rings.
That's a commitment.
It is. I'm already like well into the first one, and you know, it's I never could get into it as a young kid or teenager or whatever. I never could get into it, but I am devouring it. I watched Rings of Power season 2, and I was like, I want to live in this world, and I am devouring. I'm like, how did I ever not like this? This is so fucking stupid. Like, this is amazing. Like, it is so. I'm obsessed.
That's awesome.
But the difference in writing style between that book, which I feel has so much more substance and descriptions and story and this beautifulness, to what we're being handed now, just kind of annoys me. And I get where a few places, like, we've made changes that are for the more positive to find this writing to be really immersive. But I just also bought a book that was so shitty, and I'm just like, we went from this Lord of the Rings beauty to this bullshit, and this anyway. And the more I read Lord of the Rings, the more I realize that because when I was a teenager, I went through this stupid phase of wanting to just read classics and really old school sci-fi books, like from the 70s and 80s, and just like Robert Heinlein, to give you an example, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And I know you're just like, I don't know who that is. Yeah.
Okay.
Spaceship Troopers. Do you remember that old movie?
Starship Troopers?
Yeah, maybe that one. Yeah.
With the woohoo!
Yes.
And I feel nothing at all.
So
that's the only part I know.
He wrote the book, the original book that's based on.
Oh, it's a book. Okay.
Anyway, so, you know, I really read all that, especially in my, I would say, very innocent time of writing, absorbing the sponge, like absorbing how to write all this stuff. And reading this now, I am realizing that I used to write like, you know, Tolkien. And, you know, he got published and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking, like, why did everyone just, like, shit on me?
Welcome to my fucking world. Yep.
What's wrong with this? Why are we putting out this shit now? Because this is true art, and this is beauty. Drop the mic.
That is how I feel all the time. I tend to write in passive voice, and things are lyrical, and they take their time, and they're pretty. Everybody's like, no, you gotta use active voice, and you gotta get to the point really quick. Well, I don't fucking want to. I want to make it pretty.
What happened to us hating passive voice, now that I'm like thinking about it?
I've always loved passive voice. I may have cheated on it every now and then because I was forced to at gunpoint.
I'm sorry.
But it has always been my one true love. You're not the only one. You're not the only one who was forced me to abandon my love.
Well, I'm going to hold on to my rule of conflict till the day I die. Because I don't think...
Rule of conflict?
Well, that every moment has to have some sort of conflict or
yes.
energy of why things are happening to propel the story forward. Because even in Lord of the Rings, the beginning, they're getting fucking chased by the Black Riders. Okay?
You can have conflict, but you can have pretty conflict.
I'm gonna hold on that to the day I die. But I don't know. I might be changing this whole. But who's gonna fucking buy my shit? Because no one wants to read.
Please read Ghost Children, particularly Dora's narrative, with new eyes.
I will. But you still need a little more emotion.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I might do it now because I'm just annoyed. I'm annoyed with the fucking world. This is why Okay, we need to end this train of thought because Kait will not finish Praces because she's getting annoyed.
Okay, we're moving on. I want to talk about something else in the Ghost Station then.
Yes, let's go back to the point we're all here for.
So, I would just like to bring up something that I feel is an important PSA for space travel and our future going into space.
Okay.
In the beginning, when Ophelia realizes it was a trick that they were playing dead in the little space sarcophaguses, and the commander was like, This isn't a little innocent joke. It's not like blah, blah, blah. He's like, it's not like putting spiders in her spacesuit.
What the fuck?
What
I think I blacked that out.
Brought spiders into space. Why would you do that? You're going to a place that's blissfully spider-free, and some asshole brings them on the spaceship and puts them into space. Why would you do that? And I'm telling my husband how awful this idea is. And he's just like, oh, especially since if you're in space and you're outside the thing, you can't take off your spacesuit to get them away. And I just froze. I was driving, yet I somehow froze with my hands on the steering wheel and just looked at him and go, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I just thought, oh, well, it'll be awful for a few minutes until you take off your spacesuit. Nope. But if they emerge when you're outside the plane, the spaceship, oh my God. Oh my God. It's like, thank you for adding new depth to my fear. It's just, why? And somebody brought up spiders again later. I'm like, why are they here? Why is this a thing? Who did this?
Ignoring the fact that, like, you don't want to release this creature onto another planet.
That, and I can imagine no worse hell than spiders.
Can we go back to my book talk?
Because this is what I chose to distract us with.
I hate you right now.
What were you looking for just now?
I was looking for the book I wanted to tell you about. Because I thought I had it. This one.
What? I can't read backwards.
Contagion.
Oh, okay. I wasn't backwards. I just wasn't close enough.
If anyone wants a better, like, of the same vein, but better, this one. So I'm gonna. It's really quick, like, but it is.
I will listen.
It's a duology.
Two books in one series?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it got in us. After receiving an urgent SOS from a work detail on a distant planet, a skeleton crew is dispatched to perform a standard search and rescue mission.
This does sound familiar.
Most are dead. But when the crew arrives, they find an abandoned site littered with rotten food, discarded weapons, and dead bodies. Don't set foot here again. As they try to piece together who or what could have decimated an entire operation, they realize that some things are best left buried, and some monsters are only too ready to awaken.
I'm adding this to my TBR.
I told you, this is why, like, I was so disappointed in this book.
I think you have awakened a space horror beast within me. Erin Bauman, is that the author?
I gave this book 5 stars, just so we're clear.
The last 5-star recommendation you gave me was House of the Cerulean Sea, which I also gave 5 stars.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Immunity is the second book, which I also have.
Is it good too? Or was the first one better?
I think the first one's better.
Questions from my... Okay. I'll do that afterward.
I'm pretty sure it goes kind of like the essence of how typical these series go.
Okay.
Like, of the time that it was written.
Yeah.
But the first book is amazing. Okay. So I'm just... So when you read a book like this, okay?
Yeah.
So when you read a book like Contagion, as you can see, it's the same fucking idea of them going to a place. Now, this one, they didn't get an SOS. They didn't realize that the people were dead in Ghost Station, that they were already dead.
You
know. But when you get an idea of, like, we're going to go to this abandoned place and we're going to try to figure out, like, you know, hey, clearly something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Station's shit. I'm sorry.
Okay. I will definitely read Contagion now because I am very curious and I loved Ghost Station so much that Contagion can only just completely blow my mind. So
I feel that Contagion was I read, how long ago did I read this book?
It's from 2018.
Yeah, I read it in 2018.
Okay.
So take this with a grain of salt of me trying to remember what I liked about this book. But if I I might have a blog review about this.
Should drop that in the links
Yes,
for the show notes.
If I have a blog for this, I will drop a link to it in the show notes.
Yes.
But if I remember correctly of liking it, the scare factor was way higher, and the twisty reveal stuff of like what's going on was better done.
Yeah. Like I loved Ghost Station like 3/4 of the way. Maybe 3/5 of the way. We're gonna divide it into 5. 3/5. And those last 2/5, it waned a bit, and that's what gave it the point. Because I was debating if I should do 4 stars on Goodreads, and I'm like, it's not really a 4. It kind of petered out toward the end, but I'm like, I loved it more than a 3. So
yeah, true. Now I want to redo our schedule and add in more of these. To be honest, though,
are there a lot of good ones though out there?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do some research.
Yeah, because like this is kind of new for me, like space horror of this essence.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of on the back of Ghost Station. Yeah. There's a whole list of blurbers, and Darcy Coates liked this one. We like Darcy Coates.
But things like Murder Trending isn't the same thing. Okay. Dead of Winter's not the same thing.
Paradise Deep 1 Sky sounds spacey.
I'll look that up then.
Paradise-1. Dead Space sounds spacey. Poison Valley, I have no idea. Let's see if there's more on the inside. In the front, these violent delights. Ooh, invoking Shakespeare. There's your Shakespeare for you. There you go. These violent delights often have violent ends. All right. So, but yeah, maybe we can find a few more sci-fi books. Because I think I might. It was just refreshing to read something different for me, because I'm just so tired of reading the same thing over and over again.
This is why I've been bored to be reading in general. That's why I switched to graphic novels. They're interesting.
Yeah, I totally get it. I think that is everything I wanted to say about the surprisingly entertaining and intriguing, for me, Ghost Station.
So I looked up the Paradise-1.
Uh-oh. And?
Special Agent Petrov and Dr. Zhang are awoken from cryogenic sleep.
Ooh, I like that now.
Dragged freezing and dripping out of their pods with the ship's alarms blaring in the background, they know something is very wrong. Warned by the captain that they're under attack, they have no choice but to investigate. It doesn't take much time to learn that they've been met by another vessel, a vessel from Paradise 1, Earth's first deep space colony and their final destination. Worse still, the vessel is empty. And it carries with it the message that all communications from the 150,000 souls inhabiting the Paradise 1 has completely ceased. See, that's so much better!
It doesn't sound too much different than what we're reading in Ghost Station and what they're promising in Contagion. Better. I mean, I'll try reading that too. I'm just excited for the genre. Said
they're all done the same. You just have to you have to twist it.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah, as with all genres. Okay.
I feel like we talked about everything but this book. We've talked about Lord of the Rings, Contagion, Paradise.
We did talk about a lot of, there was a lot of comparisons, contrast and compare.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's nothing much else I want to say. I feel like we need to say something else.
I think we've said a lot. I liked a lot of it.
I didn't.
I think it was good.
Listeners, who do you side with more? I do like that we're different, because if you like CJ's recommendations in the last 2 seasons, then you know that this might be a book that you need to try. And if you like more of what I've said about the books and agree with me, then maybe... Also, do you like the Grady Hendrix right above my head?
I could not see it, but yes, I see it now. I do like the Grady Hendrix.
My partner's way of hiding our internet.
I like it.
It's like, I will be a bookstore and front face this book.
I like it.
Well, have you changed your rating?
Maybe a 3.2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
3.2, because the ending was a little lackluster.
Okay.
But I love so many things. No, I'm going to stay at 3.5. I'm going to stay at 3.5. Okay. I feel like that is a fair and honest rating. Now, what was your original rating that you put on Goodreads? Was 2. Okay, so then you changed it to 1.
I liked the writing. I thought that it was well written in the sense of descriptions, narration, writing as in characters and all that. but it might stay a 2 if I'm too lazy to go type in the title and change it.
Okay.
Otherwise, my heart feels like it's a 1 because that's what stuck with me is my hatred for reading it.
You could do a 1.5 and split the diff.
Yeah, but then I still have to it's still a full rating on Goodreads. Now, it's funny because I could not get my hands... Back in our original time that we were supposed to record this, I could not get my hands on a copy of this book, so I ended up having to get it from the library.
Me too.
And so this will forever be missing from my collection of book club reads that I have right here, and I find that really funny since I didn't like it.
It's telling. It's very telling. You know, I got this from the library too. I think it came in the second week of January, and I started reading it. It feels like so long ago. I love January. I'm not a hater of January like so many other people, but it feels like I read this 7 months ago and not just like 2 weeks ago.
I don't hate January, but I hate it in the sense that it makes us feel like we're living every single day. Like that is the one month of the year where I feel that I have lived every day of the month.
I feel that's a good thing.
Yeah, it can be. But then it also feels like you read it 7 months ago.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap all this up for you all today, I just want to give you guys some business real quick so we're all on the same page. So don't forget, next episode will be the second Thursday of February. My brain did a whole glitch there. And I want to let you know that it will be our first this has to happen at least once, author interview. And I just want to let you know we are so excited to have the Allison Scott of Decoding the Stars on to talk about astrology and how we can use it as creatives, to talk about what it was like writing a nonfiction book and how she got published and all sorts of stuff. I think it's a really good episode for creatives out there or anyone who might just be interested in astrology as well. So I'm really, really excited to share that with all of you. And then, so that I can give you guys all a heads up so that you have plenty of time to read it, our book for the last episode of the month, the last Thursday, is going to be February. I am so excited to read this book. I can't hold it in. But we are going to be reading Grady Hendrix's brand new novel, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. As we all know, we are massive Grady Hendrix fans over here.
Yes.
No big deal, right?
And we haven't read, we started the podcast with the Grady Hendrix novel, How to Sell a Haunted House. So I feel like we're almost the beginning of season 3, starting off again with another Grady Hendrix novel.
Isn't that fun?
It is.
We started our podcast with Grady Hendrix.
And now we're continuing our podcast with Grady
He's
Hendrix.
a guaranteed buy for me. Like, it doesn't matter what the book's about. I'm probably buying it.
I will probably still get it from my library, but...
No, I like my library collection.
I have limited funds, and they're going to other things right now.
God damn it, why? Barnes & Noble and their stupid fucking exclusive edition stickers.
Oh, that's some anger there.
Yes, because it leaves a mark on my...
level.
Beautiful cover. Also, by the way, this is one of those covers that we hate where it leaves the fingerprints on
shiny.
it.
Oh god.
No,
his last one was like that, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Ugh.
Also, this book is quite thick.
So was How to Sell a Haunted House.
It
They
was.
got that whole second part that we were like, we don't need this. So
yeah, but this is almost 500 pages long.
Oh goodness. Okay, I better get cracking.
All right. Well, thank you so much, listeners. That's a wrap. We hope you loved the episode. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And it also helps us to be able to reach out to other listeners like you who might want to also listen. And don't forget, new episodes are every second and last Thursday of the month. And you can find us on YouTube as video or as audio only on Spotify, Apple, and iHeart. Thank you. Bye, friends.
Bye.